Has anyone ever told you that life after 80 might feel less like peaceful retirement and more like quiet survival? It's not something people say openly, but if you've reached your 80s, you may already feel it, that subtle shift. The mornings don't always start gently anymore. Your legs aren't as steady, and the worries that once belonged to younger days now visit you more often than you expected. You've lived through decades of giving, building, and enduring, but once you cross into this chapter, the world doesn't treat you the same. On the outside, you might still look familiar, but inside, your strength, your memory, even your sense of control, they begin to wear down. Gently but relentlessly. No one prepared you for this. Not the books, not the pamphlets, not even the conversations with doctors, because the real changes after 80 aren't just physical. They test your heart, your mind, and your spirit. This video isn't here to scare you. It's here to guide you, to name the invisible weight you've been carrying and help you carry it with grace. We'll walk through 7 difficult truths of aging after 80, not to make you feel weak, but to remind you of your quiet strength. So, before we begin, if you're watching this and you've already felt these shifts in your life, let us know in the comments. You're not alone and your story still matters. Let's begin. Truth 1. The disappearing circle of people. By the time you reach your 80s, something quiet but heartbreaking begins to happen. Your social circle starts to fade. It's not because people have forgotten you. It's because many of them are simply no longer here. Friends pass on. Neighbors move into care homes. Family becomes caught up in their own fast-paced lives. It's not anyone's fault, but the absence grows slowly, silently, and deeply. You notice the difference in the little things. That weekly coffee date that once anchored your Tuesdays is gone. The voice that used to greet you every Sunday after church, missing. These once simple connections vanish without warning. And the hardest part, no one fills those spaces. Younger people may love you, but they don't quite understand the chapters you've lived through. They don't laugh the same way at the stories you tell. They weren't there. This slow vanishing doesn't just change your calendar. It touches something more personal, your sense of being seen, because loneliness, in later life, often means more than being physically alone. It means feeling invisible, like fewer people remember your laugh, your kindness, or the life you built. That's when questions start to rise. Do I still matter? Would anyone notice if I stayed in bed today? But here's the truth that brings back hope. You still have the power to create new connection. Even now, you don't need a crowd. 1 or 2 meaningful conversations, even with strangers, can light up your day. A smile at the pharmacy, a short chat with the mailman, joining a small group at your local library. These are not small acts, they're lifelines. You're not imagining the ache of losing familiar voices. That pain is real, but so is your ability to reach for new ones. Your story isn't over. You still have chapters left to write, and somewhere out there, someone is waiting to hear what you have to say. Truth 2. The body's subtle rebellion. After 80, aging doesn't always feel like a slow and steady journey. Sometimes, it feels like your own body is rewriting the script without asking for permission. One morning, your legs carry you just fine. The next, your knees protest with every step. It's not the dramatic, obvious breakdown that throws you off. It's the quiet, unpredictable shifts. A sudden stiffness in your back, a favorite meal that now upsets your stomach, a nap that doesn't feel restful, but essentiel. Many older adults expect their strength to decline gradually, but what truly unsettles them is how inconsistent their body becomes. You sleep well for several nights, then suddenly find yourself wide awake at 2 in the morning. Foods you've eaten for decades now give you discomfort. Your energy level, once reliable, fluctuates without warning. It starts to feel like the rules are changing and no one told you. This quiet rebellion can leave you feeling betrayed. You've lived in this body for a lifetime, and suddenly it doesn't respond the way it used to. You begin to question, is this a new stage or just a passing moment? Should I be concerned? or just wait it out. The emotional toll can be heavier than the physical one, especially because others don't always notice. You may appear fine. You're still walking, still talking, still smiling. But no one sees the behind-the-scenes effort. How you pace your day carefully, how you time your tasks when your body feels more stable, how you sit down not because you're tired, but because your legs are trembling. What's hardest is the randomness. Some days, you feel surprisingly strong. Other days, everything feels heavier than usual. It's not failure, it's your body working overtime just to keep up. But here's something powerful to hold on to. Gentle routines can restore a sense of balance. Start the day with warm water. Do a few soft stretches before bed. Step outside for 10 minutes of fresh air. These simple rituals remind your body and your spirit that you're still in this together. You're not surrendering. You're adapting. That quiet adaptability, that's strength. If you've made it this far in the video and felt any part of this truth echo in your own life, I invite you to share. Comment below to let us know you're still here. It helps us know we're not alone and it encourages others. 2. And if you haven't yet subscribed, I gently encourage you to do so and turn on the bell. It allows us to keep making thoughtful videos like this. To support and uplift you on this journey, let's move forward. Together. Truth 3. Shrinking circle of people. One of the most difficult things to face after the age of 80 is this. The people around you begin to fade away, not by choice but by time. You might notice it little by little. The old friend you used to call every Thursday no longer answers. A neighbor who once shared morning walks has moved or passed on. Even your children. The ones who once leaned on you for everything seem swept up in their own lives with work, grandchildren, and growing responsibilities. It's not that they don't care. It's that life pulls them in different directions, and the quiet begins to grow. At first, you may try to explain it away. Maybe they're just busy this week. Maybe things will go back to normal. But then weeks pass. Birthdays come with a short message instead of a visit. The holidays feel more silent than they used to. You find yourself holding on to memories more than making new ones. And not because you've stopped trying, but because those opportunities have become fewer. Maybe driving at night is no longer safe. Maybe loud gatherings feel overwhelming. Maybe just getting dressed and out the door takes more energy than people understand. And so you pause, you hesitate, you say maybe next time, but each hesitation leaves space for more silence. And that silence can slowly make you feel unseen. One man, Harold, now 85, shared something tender. It's not being alone that hurts. It's the feeling that no one expects me anymore, like my absence wouldn't interrupt anyone's day. That quiet truth is difficult. But here's what matters. A smaller circle doesn't mean a smaller life. You don't need a room full of people to feel connected. A single, honest conversation can remind you that you're still part of the world. A gentle laugh over coffee, a kind smile at the grocery store, even just sitting in quiet companionship, these small moments carry real weight. Sometimes staying connected means doing what feels uncomfortable, reaching out first, writing a note to someone instead of waiting for their call, saying yes to a neighbor's invitation, even if you're unsure. And sometimes it means giving what you have: your stories, your presence, your wisdom. A younger person might need your voice more than you know. Your experience could become their anchor. Growing older doesn't take away your worth, but staying visible, staying involved takes intention, it takes courage, and it starts by reminding yourself, even if your circle has grown quiet, you still matter. Truth 4. The burden of outliving others. There's a particular kind of ache that comes from living longer than the people who shaped your world. And after 80, that ache doesn't just visit once, it becomes familiar. You don't just say goodbye once, you say it over and over, to childhood friends, to siblings who knew your parents, to a partner you once imagined growing old with hand in hand. It's not just the loss itself, it's carrying the memories alone. You become the only one who remembers the smell of your mother's kitchen, the only one who still laughs at a joke from a vacation decades ago. You go to say, remember when, but there's no one left to finish the sentence with you. That kind of loneliness is deeper than silence. It's the realization that no one else knows your timeline the way you do that. The cast of characters in your story has faded, and you're left with more lines to say, but fewer familiar faces listening. You may even feel a kind of guilt, not because you did something wrong, but because you're still here when others aren't. You wonder, why me? Why now? And the grief, it doesn't go away. It simply changes shape. One woman, Eleanor, now 88, shared something tender. She said the hardest part wasn't losing her husband. It was the morning she woke up and instinctively reached across the bed, forgetting he was gone. Or when she caught herself laughing at something, only to realize there was no one left to share it with. But here's the quiet strength in all of this. You are the one who remembers. You hold the thread that keeps their stories alive. You carry the love, the laughter, the legacy, and by speaking of them, you honor them, waking up, making your coffee, stepping out into a quiet house. That is not weakness. That is courage. If you're still watching this video and any part of this truth feels familiar, I invite you to comment 4 below. It lets us know you're here and reminds others that they're not alone in this chapter. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I encourage you to do so. Your support helps us continue creating thoughtful content to walk beside you in the journey ahead. Let's keep going. Together. Truth 5. The shrinking of personal freedom. Something quietly changes after the age of 80. Even if you remain sharp, independent, and fully capable, the people around you often start treating you like you're not. Your freedom begins to shrink, not all at once, but gradually, in subtle ways. It might start with your children insisting on driving you everywhere, even though you feel perfectly safe behind the wheel. Or maybe they start asking what time you should go to bed, how often you take your medication, or what you've eaten that day. At first, it feels like care. But over time, it can begin to feel like control. The problem is not their love. The problem is the assumption that aging equals helplessness, and that assumption slowly pulls the reins out of your hands. Suddenly, you're not the one making the final decisions. You're being nudged, advised, gently overridden. That's when frustration creeps in. Not because you can't manage, but because people stop believing you can. Mr. Leonard, Aga 85, shared how his adult daughter started managing every detail of his schedule, from when to walk, what to eat, even what shows to watch. Leonard appreciated her intentions, but he said it made him feel like he was no longer living his own life. Not because he was incapable, but because others assumed he was. This isn't about being stubborn. It's about dignity. It's about the basic right to still have a say, to be asked instead of told. Setting boundaries at this stage of life isn't selfish, it's self-respecting. You can say, "Thank you, but I'd like to choose for myself." You can speak up when something doesn't feel right. And here's the truth. The more you protect your freedom to decide what to eat, who to see, how to spend your time, the more you preserve your connection to the world. These aren't just everyday choices. They are your identity in motion. No matter your age, your voice matters. Your preferences matter. And your right to make decisions about your own life should always remain yours. Truth 6. The emotional cost of outliving others. One of the heaviest burdens that often comes after the age of 80 isn't something you can see or measure. It's not the ache in your back or the stiffness in your knees. It's the quiet, aching grief of outliving people who once filled your world. It begins with one goodbye, then another, then another. Slowly, the circle of people who knew you deeply, your childhood friends, your college roommate, your spouse, starts to disappear. And one day, you realize no one else remembers the story behind the scratch on your old bookshelf. No one laughs quite the same at that silly inside joke from your 20s. There's a strange kind of loneliness that comes with being the only one who remembers a shared past. That loneliness doesn't always cry out. It hums quietly in the background of your life. It's in the holidays that feel emptier, The mornings that feel quieter, and the memories that echo back without anyone to reflect them. Helen, now 88, shared something that stuck with me. She said, "I still reach for 2 teacups when I boil water. One for me, and one for my husband. Even though he's been gone 5 years, it's those small habits, the automatic gestures that remind you who's missing. This emotional weight doesn't go away. It transforms. It becomes a layer you carry through your days. You still smile, you still show up, but you do it with a heart that is stretched to hold both joy and sorrow. And yet, in this emotional landscape, there is strength, real strength. There is power in being the one who keeps the stories alive. In choosing to speak the names of those who are gone, in sharing their legacy through your own voice, there is beauty in continuing to connect, even when it hurts. Because the antidote to outliving is not hiding, it's reaching. Reach out to a neighbor. Say yes to the lunch invitation. Invite someone younger to hear your stories. Even if they don't share your past, they can still become part of your present. So if you're living through this right now, know this: you are not broken. The sadness you feel is a reflection of how deeply you've loved and lived. Let it walk beside you, not stop you. If you found value in this truth, please comment number 6 below to let us know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, tap that button and turn on notifications. Your support means the world. It helps us keep creating content that supports, inspires, and reminds you that your voice still matters. Truth 7. Facing your own fragility with grace. After the age of 80, one of the most honest and humbling experiences is coming face to face with your own fragility. It's not just about aching joints or slower movement, it's the realization that even small actions, the kind you never used to think about, now demand more attention. Getting out of bed, standing up from a soft chair, or holding a cup of tea without trembling, these moments begin to carry a new weight. The shift is quiet, but it's undeniable. You start to plan your day not around what excites you, but around what feels physically manageable. You check the weather, not for sunshine, but to decide whether you can safely go outside. Even familiar routines may start to feel unfamiliar. Slower, more deliberate. This adjustment can stir up emotions that are difficult to explain. Doubt creeps in. Confidence falters. You may begin second-guessing whether it's wise to walk alone, travel, or even host a guest. And for some, this change feels like a loss of self. But fragility does not mean failure. There's a quiet kind of strength in recognizing your body's limits and choosing to move with care rather than defiance. It's not giving up, it's adapting with wisdom. I remember an older gentleman named Elias, now 86, who used to enjoy hiking in the nearby hills. These days, he uses a walking stick and limits himself to the flat trails. It's not about giving in, he told me. It's about still showing up. Even if the path looks different now, that mindset is everything. Fragility, when met with grace, becomes a form of wisdom. It teaches you to value energy. It invites you to move slower but with more presence. It allows you to ask for help without shame, and to see tools like a cane or support rail, not as signs of decline, but as companions that extend your freedom. Strength, after 80, is not measured by how much you can do. It's measured by how kindly you treat yourself while doing it. And that is the grace that carries you forward, not with urgency, but with quiet dignity and a deep, lived-in kind of courage. Getting older after 80 is not just about managing aches and slower steps. It's about meeting some of life's hardest truths with quiet courage. You don't have to pretend that aging is easy, because it's not. But acknowledging what's real does not make you weak. It makes you wise. If you're in your 80s or caring for someone who is, remember this: you are not a burden. You are not invisible. You are still a vital part of this world. Your stories, your memories, your presence, they matter deeply. And the world still needs your voice. So take care of your mind as much as your body. Don't bottle up your emotions. Welcome help when it's needed, but hold firm to your independence. Let loneliness come and go, but don't let it define you. Stay curious, stay kind, and continue to show up one day, one moment at a time. Now, we would love to hear from you. What spoke to your heart today? Was there a moment or truth that you deeply connected with? Leave us a comment below and share your thoughts. You never know who your words might comfort. If you found this video helpful, please like it, subscribe to Elderly Wisdom Life, and share it with someone who may need these gentle reminders. Your support helps us continue to create content that informs, inspires, and honors this remarkable stage of life.